Welcome back to the program. My name is Vivian Degwa, and now we get into a different segment right here on Good Morning Kenya. And our topic of conversation right now is on finding the right hospitality personnel. And joining me for that conversation, he'll just be dissecting that topic for us, is none other than Mr. Charles Gaku. He is the Managing Director, Air Travel and Related Studies Center. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Vivian. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Great
How are you doing?
Here. I'm very happy to be here.
You love our studios?
Yes, excellent.
Too many lights going about. All right, we're pleased to have you on the show today. And when we're talking about this topic, that's finding the right hospitality personnel.
Yes.
Let's start with what makes a good hospitality staff.
Okay. Viewers, my name is Charles Gaku. Charles Gaku is a director at a college called Air Travel and Related Study Center in Karen, a college that I've run for the last 32 years, since those days. And so I specialize mainly in travel and tourism and hospitality. So this is a very close subject to my heart. And I've trained generations, thousands of students, going to 15,000 students now, who have completed their courses. They brought in their kids for me to teach, who I also taught, and they are also all over the industry. So I'm a mubaba when it comes to travel and tourism and hospitality. Yes. Now, looking for the right personnel to work for the hospitality industry, travel and tourism, Vivian, that starts from clearly as early as high school. Because the industry is very unique, because we don't sell anything that is tangible. Actually, we sell what we call happiness in the industry, and you cannot be able to feel that. It's intangible. So we need personnel who have the right attitudes for this particular industry. So there are very many little things that they look little, but they matter most that you look for. For example, your sense of grooming is very vital in the industry, because you project a certain image when you represent a company. For example, if I'm a tour guide, that's my profession as a tour guide, when tourists come to our country, they're not able to see the 54 million of us.
Sure.
They're able to see a tour guide who's with them, by the way, for 95% of the time. They're able to see a chef if they're lucky, because chefs are normally in the kitchen, but they see the service personnel, the receptionists that, receive them, the cabin crew that have come in with them, and so on and so forth. So we project an image of the country at a very, very little meager percentage. And the perceptions from those visitors are that Kenya is this way and that way. So grooming is vital. That's why you find 99% of personnel in the industry put on uniform. Uniform to say that we are uniformed in providing you a proper service. We are at your service. All of us, we are unified towards one goal. That goal is to provide the finest service that we can. So grooming is very vital. And then little things that we don't take so seriously, and they are very vital in tourism, is the issue of punctuality, keeping time. How do you feel, Vivian, when you go on a safari to the Mara or Amboseli or even Savo, and it's time for lunch, and the chef comes and announces that today our lunch will be 1 hour late? They've had the time to do all these preparations. Remember, our tourists pay even 1 year before they get into the country. So they expect that things are running and that you're really waiting for them. So punctuality. The soft skills are those things that do matter. How is your initiative? How is your sense of cooperation and teamwork? How is your adaptability? Are you a team player? How is your interest, initiative and effort to do this job? I have seen back at college where students join programs that they were pushed to do by their parents and not by themselves. It doesn't work. So clearly, over and above all that I've just been talking to you about, passion is everything. Yeah.
And when you talk about the soft skills that you've just actually mentioned, and I had a question on that, on what soft skills are really essential. You've mentioned them. So maybe what techniques do you use to evaluate someone's soft skills?
Great. Now, many things to look at. I do conduct interviews in majority of my admissions. back at school, and that is how the industry should be able to get the right personnel for the industry by conducting interviews. Not just say I have the passion. You also have to see the passion that you're talking about. You don't say I love cooking and actually you mean I love eating and not cooking. So we are looking at people who appreciate nature. You say I'm a guide, but you want to guide from the office. No, you have to go to the Mara, Amboseli, Savo, and exactly see the animals, look at the wildlife, guide people through plants, shrubs, trees, and so on and so forth. So we have a genuine interest in making sure that before we admit you in the industry, even for training purposes, you do have that particular passion. So it is possible to see, even the way you answer questions, your demeanor, you know, your calmness, your willingness to help can be seen and is manifested in even the way we walk. So these are things that are actually out there for all of us to be able to see. Now, we have to expect that when we have clients coming to a country, they're expecting a certain level of service. And that level of service is up to international standards. 5 stars are 5 stars. They might be a little different. Whatever is called a 5-star in Kenya and it's called a 5-star in the UK, and Dubai could be a bit different. But the expectations are the same. So if you're 5-star in your region and a client has bought a 5-star service in a hotel, then what you're saying is that we expect a certain level of service. We cannot be able to achieve that without having those who want to work in the industry sitting for a common international entry examination. It's very important that we don't have different levels of examinations towards the same kind of service that we want to provide. And that's why I thank 2 major examiners that exist in the hospitality industry, travel and tourism, and the first one is IATA. IATA is International Air Transport Association. It's based in Montreal, in Canada. This is a body that, you know, sets the exams, provides the syllabus, examines, and of course gives out the qualification. What does that mean? Is that the moment you flash that paper, anywhere in the world, Dubai, Qatar, wherever it is, in the US and the UK, that paper, that qualification is recognized. It is very important that we do that so that the expectations, we don't frustrate our clients' expectations. Another good examiner who is known worldwide for hospitality is ICM. ICM stands for Institute of Commercial Management. It's based in London in the UK. So it's very, very vital that we link ourselves with examiners that are able to meet that international standards. And even more importantly, is to ensure that we provide serious, very well supervised industry attachment for our programs. If you want to find the right personnel for the hospitality industry, and I'm appealing to the industry at the moment, to be able to open up those graduates that you are churning out to provide industrial attachment for them, whether it's paid or is unpaid. Obviously, this is a clause that a college can be able to take, you know, whatever their produce is to the job market. Provide industrial attachment. They could be paid, unpaid, but please do it. And this industrial attachment should be properly supervised by the institutions that are offering the training. I mean colleges in this particular respect, so that it adds value. It's a very good chance to get the right personnel as a hotel manager through an industrial attachment. And I always recommend not anything less than 6 months, because I believe in 6 months you will have seen that Vivian can be able to fit this industry or cannot be able to fit in this particular industry. So that is another area that we have to ensure that you get the right personnel. And while the students are still in school, it's very important that you also take them out for trips. You take them out for, you know, to get to know how the industry is organized. Let them go to the Mara, let them see how lions behave and how lions are, so that if you're a tour guide, you're not seeing lions for the first time when you have clients. You have seen them before. I've seen in very sad cases where tour guides are more excited than the tourists that they took the park, because they are seeing lions for the first time themselves. So finding the proper training apparatus will also mean that we have to invest as institutions to ensure that whatever you're providing is A1. And we have competition. Now that the qualifications is international, is universal all over the world, you will be expecting that as an employee, if you don't provide the right remuneration for your staff, they'll be taken away. We have cases of the industry losing in their hundreds to mega airlines, the legacy airlines like Emirates, Qatar, and so on, and even hotel chains for greener pastures. So if you have to provide proper training, we also have to provide enough, not just to fill in our market, but also what you can be able to export to other countries that also need our personnel. Kenyans are very hardworking. Wherever it is you go, anytime you fly on Emirates or Qatar or wherever it is, you won't fail to find a Kenyan who's a cabin crew or a flight passer. Go to the hotels at the reception, the lobby, or in the service. You'll find that these people are working all over the world. Why? Kenyans are hardworking.
That's true.
They have the right attitude. We say that we are the second best English speakers in Africa. So those issues of accents, a lack of communication and all that, those are not there. So it is possible to even export labor. We have a policy in government that says let us export as much labor as we can so that they can bring in back the foreign exchange that is needed. It is possible, particularly in our industry, given that those who work in the industry, 75% of them are between the ages of 17 and 35 years.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot that can be done.
That's true.
Yes.
Now, when we look at the hospitality industry in the country at the moment, where would you say we are at? You know, I know COVID-19 came and disrupted things, specifically when it comes to the hospitality industry, like things were terribly bad.
Yes.
So since 2020 to now, 2024, have we been able to peak?
I was reading a bulletin from IATA last week on Friday that Africa, and particularly Kenya, has surpassed the pre-COVID levels that we used to have, which is very good. I also must let you know that we had a very good high season this particular year in Kenya. We could not get accommodation, we could not get even transportation, both by air and by road to our national parks and national reserves. Our lodges were full, our camps. We had a case of a few being swept off by rivers, by a river in the Mara, but that was quickly fixed. And I must thank all the stakeholders for, you know, the attitude and the togetherness that we showed during these times. Kenya has also evolved from being just a safari destination where you come for beach and a bit of wildlife to now a conference destination. Just behind here you have the Marriott's. Well set, 600 rooms, 13 to 14 conference halls. That is not a safari. Look at the area that we call Westlands today, Movenpeak. Everybody's there, Radisson, you know, all those. It tells you something that Kenya has been identified as a destination, not just for safari, but also for conferences. And it's a good way to go, so that even if tourism is not doing well, the safari part, we have a conference. And we must thank also our middle class. They were very supportive during the COVID. Our middle class Kenyans, the domestic tourists, made up for about 80% during this COVID and fill up the gaps. We didn't have a lot of mass layovers once we opened up our facilities, thanks to the middle class. And interestingly, during that particular time, the Spanish clients continued to come in. So all in all, we are back to those COVID days, those pre-COVID days. We are booming. All you need to do is to make sure that there's political stability. We train our students to serious levels so they can be able to match up to the expectation. Because the guest keeps on evolving. The client evolves all the time. And the needs and expectations are always different all the time. So we should be able to match that by having equipped our people to be able to meet in any expectation that our clients could have, including the most challenging and the most demanding.
All right. Now that you've touched on that, you mentioned something to do with Kenya is not just a safari destination. We need to sell it more as you're saying right now we're even a conference destination. Maybe are we doing enough to sell our country out there? And what more should be done for us to be able to put our country out there as a destination, you know, for tourists? We are not doing enough yet. Of course, we have KTB, Kenya Tourist Board. They're doing the best that they can, but I believe we can do better. And there are three other areas that you can involve, or we can, we can take. One is to open up the off the beaten tracks. You know, we sell the beach.
our various national parks and reserves. I think you know them, Samburu, Mount Kenya, Imabadeas, the Mara, and so on and so forth. No one talks about the Western Circuit. That includes Kakamega, Kisumu. There's quite a lot to see. Kericho, Kisii area, that is not taken care of. And then, for us, our wildlife means the big five at the moment. If you don't show your clients lions, leopards, buffalo, and the elephant, they feel like they have been shortchanged. But we have millions of people who like to come to our country to see birds, to see plants, to see trees, to study insects and shrubs and so on and so forth. So I don't think our tour guiding syllabus, much as I do teach tour guiding, it is not at par with the expectation of the client. We need to specialize more. When I go to other countries of the world, guides are actually professors in their respective fields. They'll guide you in a museum, like the Louvre Museum in France. They can guide you there for 3 days inside that particular hall. But when you look at the museum tourism in our country, it is fairly underrated. These are ideas that could be able to open up. Let's not forget that we have a rich history as well. We do have the crown of mankind, which is Lake Turkana. We also say our neighbors here, Oduvai Gorge, that's where mankind is said to have evolved. But the serious historic climate we're not getting. We have not even touched, we are scratching the surface as far as sports tourism is concerned. Many people will be interested to see these Olympians that run and run and run, they don't stop until they have won. Where do they come from? What do they eat? What topography? What environment do they live in? So there's quite a lot. But I always say, without a proper trained personnel, we'll be able to aim at we are aiming for 5 million tourists by the year 2030, 5 million. They will come. We can get them if we do enough. And of course, diversify our product. But we cannot sustain 5 million tourists if they are not backed up by a proper training regime that will ensure that they get value for money when they get into a country. That is very vital for me. And that is why I stuck into training for the last 32 years to ensure, because I still feel that I have something that I should be able to provide to our country to ensure that whatever they get is up to par with the expectations. So that our neighbors, who we have seen grow their tourism, our neighbor here, Tanzania is doing 1994, 1995. The first time I was doing the Lake Manyara, Serengeti, and Ngorongoro, they were very down. Today, you're looking at them as a competitor who has almost overtaken us if they have not done that already. I
think they have already.
And I don't want to say they have. It's sad to say that they have, but it's also sad to say that they haven't. But we can pull up our socks. This country naturally attracts tourists because of the level of service. And you must thank my alma mater, Kenya Utalii College, because it's a pioneer. When I was at Utalii in the 90s, in a class of 30, you could have 4, 5, even 10 different nationalities, African nationalities, represented in this country. So there is room. Why are we not selling, even training, people coming from all over the world, particularly in Africa, to come and train in our country because the resources are there, the training personnel is there. So what you find at the moment is lots of lecturers in those countries, Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania, they are all Kenyans who are doing a good job, including managers and chefs in our Serena properties, Sova properties in the East African region. Vivian, I'm quite lonely at the top because...
I love that statement.
You get this?
Yeah.
Tell
us about that.
Yeah, this is an award from my institution. Air Travel and Related Study Center. You're based in Karen, in Nairobi. This award is given by IATA, International Air Transport Association, based in Montreal, Canada. I've been receiving this award since the year 2008, every year, without fail. How do I get this award? 2008. This is the 16th year that I'm receiving this. No other college in Africa and the Middle East has ever received this recognition to be made an IATA Premier SACCO member. What does it take? 95% of your students must pass the examinations. They look at the absorption in the job market. They have a way of telling, because the certificates are you know. They're able to tell from the certificate that the issue, who is working where, because it's like a closed shop.
Okay.
IATA represents airlines, and airlines also deal with travel agents who issue tickets and other services on behalf of the airline. So they're able to tell who it is that is using the certificate to work where. So the whole of Africa and the Middle East, no one has ever received this award for the last 16 years running.
Where's the gap, maybe?
The reason why?
Yeah.
I have taken a personal initiative to do the training, of course, with another dedicated team of teaching staff members. And I guarantee my students industry attachment, out of which 84% of the students get jobs. So I take them for industry attachment. And this is very well documented. So it is possible and it is doable. When you have an international qualification, it is easier to get your students to work anywhere in the world. Last time I was flying from Minneapolis to Seattle. And on United Airlines, you find a cabin crew that I trained 18 years ago. Meaning that with this paper, you're able to work anywhere in the world.
All right.
So finding the serious travel, tourism, personnel, and hospitality industry for the industry requires also a personal touch in whatever it is that you're doing. Yes, personalized service is the way to go in our industry and in the rest of the world.
Okay.
Yes.
And back to the right personnel. When you talk about the hospitality industry, customer service must be paramount. So when we look at customer service, what can you say about customer service?
Sadly, we are second to the banks. The banking sector, the last 2 years, has overtaken the customer service. But I was quite relieved 2 weeks ago when I received, when I got information and I saw, like during the World Travel Awards, they were in Leisure Lodge. In Mombasa, South Coast, sorry, in Kwale County. I got that we scooped a lot of awards. Kenya Airways alone scooped 6 different awards, and any other sector, the best hotel, the best family, went to different places that are in Kenya. But we lost the best national park conservation area from Mara went to Serengeti for the first time, I think, in 5 years. Yeah, so these are areas that we need to address. And one thing I would like to also point out when you're here with you, Vivian, we talk about 5 million tourists by the year 2030. I would not talk about the numbers in terms of 5 million or 5 or 10 or 15. I'll talk about how much are they leaving behind. We don't need mass tourism if they're not leaving anything behind. There are sad stories of countries that got 70, 80 million tourists a year. For example, Spain, their tourism industry collapsed because people are coming from all over Europe. They don't spend much in Spain. That does not support the sector. So let's talk about how much are we targeting in terms of billions of dollars and not a number of tourists that we hope to get into a country. It's possible to get backpackers, many of them. How much do they leave behind? Let's look at those who can be able to pay us the top dollar, middle and top dollar. This is what we want, so that we can be able to remunerate staff in the industry better, so we don't have the drain that we're getting, brain drain, getting them going to other parts of the world. And our industry will be dealing with the finest, even in terms of service. And we'll be able to attract more, who will pay us more. That's the way to go.
And that's the goal.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, technology has been here with us now and it keeps advancing. Maybe what has technology changed when it comes to the hospitality landscape?
Made it easier. It's easier to check in now. You can even do your own flights. It is possible to book your own safari, book your car hire, wherever it is that you're going. It has made it easier. But our industry is also very much hands-on. We are not able to eliminate, it's labor intensive, especially in the hotels and restaurants. As much as we like to, to bring as much IT as we can, I don't think that it is right or even possible to replace that human touch, the humor, the smile, that service with a smile. That I beg we should spare. And the others, the back office, those ones could be as automated as possible. You could imagine on an 8-hour flight where your cabin crew is a robot. You want this, you press, they give you a glass of wine and so on. On this, you press, you get whatever it is that you want. That's not personal touch. And we are Africans. And Africans are warm people. And the warmth is what makes us a natural destination and a natural choice for many of the tourists, because whatever it is, they have over-automated so much that they want to come back and see how was it some 15, 20 years back. And they are paying us for that. I'm not saying we should remain remote, but we should also be careful about how much we can automate and what areas we can automate. But it has made it easier. It's possible now to, before you used to go to the airport, you had to have a paper ticket. If you don't carry that paper ticket, you don't board. Today, of course,
now you can even just check in online.
Just check in online and so on and so forth. So good and bad. But the natural warmth, the African hospitality, that one we should leave aside.
Yeah.
Yes.
But speaking about what you're talking about, the natural hospitality.
Yes.
I feel like we will get to a point where we'll be served by robots. I mean, there's already a hotel in Nairobi right now where you're served by a robot.
Yes.
It comes, you put in what you want, it goes
Yeah.
back and brings it in.
Yeah, a good spectacle.
Yeah.
But not everyone should be able to do that.
Yeah.
I did that in China over the weekend. Whole of last 2 weeks I was in China. There is the Canton Fair that we normally attend to just see developments in all sectors. And several hotels had robots. But I went to another Brazilian one much later that was served naturally. And I think I had a better experience at the Brazilian one that was served warmly by the warm Chinese people with a dash of Brazilian flavor. It's a fogo gaucho back in Guangzhou, and I loved it. I think that's
that human touch
yes,
is irreplaceable.
That one we should not.
Yeah.
They say in Africa ni handshake. I think that should not go. At least not now, not during our time.
Not now.
Yes.
All right, as we almost come to the end of this conversation, maybe what are the reasons or common reasons for high turnover when it comes to the hospitality industry, and how should we go about mitigating that?
I have dealt a lot with the industry. For the last 32 years I've been talking to you about. And one of the reasons why I find staff leaving is greener pastures abroad. Quite inevitable if you cannot be able to match what they're giving you, so they leave. But the third one is poaching from one hotel to another hotel. If you want a salesperson or a chef, you know that so-and-so has a good chef. So for this little increment, then the chef leaves. And you know that customers follow the chef because you go to a hotel or a restaurant for the food, for example, and not for anything else. So this poaching, this domestic poaching can be taken care of by properly training students so that you have enough pool. You poach and poach and you poach each other so much that there's no one to poach anymore. But the flip side of it, or the better side of it, could be taken care of by training more to high standards so that there'll be no poaching. Everybody is happy with the kind of product that they are getting for the hotel. Don't forget, travel agents and many hotels are really private entities. Private in the sense that the ownership is private. You want to maximize on your profits as much as you can. So there's cutthroat and so on, that competition. That can be taken care of the moment you provide all of you serious training that is commensurate to whatever a client is expecting from whatever part of the world.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, for the purpose of our viewer who's watching us right now, and this is a field they are looking to get into, probably what are the best courses that one can take? Probably if you can just mention quickly.
Vivian, we've never had enough chefs in the world. Those who prepare food, drinks, and so on. A chef is a person who, of course, is knowledgeable about the entire kitchen. There's a court kitchen, butcher, associé, entrementier, all those, garde-manger, all those. Chefs are not enough. And we must let our people know that males should not avoid being chefs. As a matter of fact, 8 out of the top 10 chefs of the world are male, are not female. That field is open. We don't have enough. 2, air cargo area. Remember, even when COVID was there, the graph on air cargo showed that the momentum continued because instead of going to China to pick up your things, now you could send. They'll come as cargo. All the PPEs, all the vaccines are coming in as cargo, and that momentum has not slowed down. And a very rich area. The third one is the tour guiding area. if you have been keen and looked at the tour guides at the moment, and with all due respect to them, we have an aging population of guides. The rate at which you're training new guides is not commensurate with the way the industry is, is expanding, and also the age the average age of current guides that we have at the moment. So that's an area that we could seriously get into. And there is opportunity for that. As long as you're good in languages, your interpersonal skills are good, and so on. One fourth area is the area of travel and tourism operations. Today, it is possible to have your little travel and tourism company. You don't need a lot of space. You just need an internet. You need, to link up with airlines and so on for hotel rates and so on, and you'll be able to become a travel and tour consultant. Of course, having gone through training, serious training. One other area is hotel management.
Okay.
Hotel management has a lot of leeway in the sense that you learn many different, about all the different sections of the hotel. Reception, housekeeping, the laundry, the restaurant, and so on. So upon completion of your course, you're able to fit into any of these particular areas that a hotel has. Very, 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 very important. And cabin crew, the air hostess. Let's not focus on Kenya Airways, our national carrier only. Air Riyadh, for example, in Saudi Arabia, has bought last week 100 aircraft. On that aircraft, you're going to have 8 or 10 cabin crew at any given time. And there's nothing wrong with working in Saudi Arabia. You talk about skilled labor here. So those 6 areas that I've talked about is where the future of hospitality is lying.
Okay.
And as I said, 75% of those industry are actually our youth. They should focus on that. And these are not jobs for failures. These are jobs for people who have a passion in the industry that I've just been talking about this morning.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Charles, for joining us for this particular conversation. I will allow you to give us your last remarks as we close it off.
For the students upcoming, I know they are doing their KCSE at the moment. They will need to think about venturing into the fields of travel, tourism, and hospitality, because this is where the next frontier is. We all know that 13% are the ones who make it to the university, and 87 go to TVET, like mine. Then they'll be able to get out. For the parents, let them choose courses that they want, the kids want. Let's not force them to do courses that they don't want. And for the rest of the country, let us support tourism. At the time you see an international tourist or a local one enjoying themselves, support them, because this is where, particularly for the international tourists, where our foreign exchange will come from, so that our dollar remains strong. You don't have to borrow as much as you're borrowing at the moment. Yes.
All right, thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
That was Mr. Charles Gaku, the Managing Director, Air Travel and Related Studies Center. And this is where we come to a close of this particular conversation. If you're someone who's looking to get into hospitality, you've heard from him. You now know where the future of hospitality is at. Don't you go too far. I'll be back in a moment to have a different conversation, and that will be on Family Check. And we will be looking at modern day parenting. Don't go too far.